killing infants, taking advantage of mothers who don't know better. This is a video about Nestle and how they've systematically destroyed so many lives. Nestle was all the hype and their baby formula was working quite well in the Western world, but they realized that there was a market completely untapped, and that was poor countries with poor people and an insane lack of knowledge. Now you might think, what's wrong with baby formulas? But it's not the product that's a problem, it's where they chose to place it. By human nature, babies are supposed to be fed by the breast, but that was the exact competition for Nestle. For African mothers, there was really no point in feeding the children with baby formulas if they could already breastfeed their children. Now, how do they compete with breastfeeding? The answer is free samples. Nestle hired a bunch of saleswomen and made them wear nurse outfits even though they were not qualified nurses. They gave gifts to doctors and they tried to get into all the hospitals that they could. Because if the word came from a trusted person, the mothers would think that this is something very important. When new babies were born, they used to feed them Nestle products only. And because newborn children were fed baby formulas, the mother's breasts stopped producing the milk. So then they had to obviously rely on that milk product. The moment the mother stepped outside the hospital, Nestle stopped giving them free samples and obviously started charging money. I want you to put yourself in the shoes of an African mother who is not educated in the 1960s. When someone dressed up as a medical professional comes to you and gives you free samples and says that your baby is going to thrive on this, considering the lack of knowledge you have, you're going to take it. A study showed that some mothers would extend a 4-day supply of baby formula all the way from 5 days to 3 weeks. Diluting this baby formula would lead to severe malnourishment in the African kids. The countries are so poor, and when you mix baby formula with extremely dirty water, there is only one thing that could happen to children. A study showed that 80% of the bottles surveyed showed extremely high levels of bacteria. Imagine giving that to your kids on a daily basis. This created so many diseases and so many problems in children and killed millions. Now, obviously, Nestle argued that this wasn't their fault. The baby formula was completely fine and that the problem was within the usage. But think about it this way. They knew exactly the kind of country they're marketing to, the people they're marketing to, and the labels they had always kind of misdirected or had a different language to what the people could read. There were so many small things that showed that they clearly knew what they were doing, but that technically they weren't at fault. Just think about how many millions of lives were affected just so that a company could earn a bit more profit. There is such a disparity in the way they view human lives and how they evaluate what's important and what's not important. I understand that big corporate companies do a lot of dirty work to get where they are, but this is not just dirty, this is evil and inhumane. But the issues are so deep-rooted, and there is one thing that's above everything else in this life, that's profit. And once something is in the way of profits and shareholder happiness, nothing matters anymore.